This morning. There seems to be a lot we know, a lot we're learning about this story. Now the FBI has this laptop. The FBI and the DOJ seem to be in agreement with DNI Ratcliffe that this is not some part of a Russian disinformation campaign, but there's a lot the American people don't understand about this story. What do they need to know?
Well, one of the most striking things is what Joe Biden isn't saying. So Joe Biden has not denied that this is in fact his son Hunter Biden's laptops. Joe Biden has not denied that these emails are real. Joe Biden has not denied that he personally met with the Ukrainian oligarch that he had repeatedly sworn up and down he'd never met with. Joe Biden has not denied that Communist China offered him millions of dollars to do business with them. Right now, the Biden strategy is count on the press and count on big tech to protect him from answering even basic questions. And I'll tell you, last week when it came to big tech, we saw a major transformation. For years, we've seen a growing problem of big tech censoring citizens from speaking online. Last week, big tech took another step, a huge step, and they're now censoring the press. They're censoring the media. In particular, they blocked the New York Post, which has the fourth highest circulation of any newspaper in America. They blocked the New York Post from circulating, or any American from posting, two blockbuster stories alleging evidence of corruption by Joe Biden. That is a serious, serious abuse of power by big tech trying to silence the press.
I want to get to more on that in just a moment, Senator. But the Wall Street Journal editorial board takes this up in a piece this morning, pointing out the obvious, the media ignoring the emails found on the Hunter Biden laptop, et cetera. The Biden's in China business, it writes. The story won't go away without explanation, even if the Veep wins. So while it's being ignored, it makes the case that there's going to be big questions that have to be answered by a potential President Biden if he does win this election. The editorial board writes this, Senator. Joe Biden ought to clear the air on this China business in his own political interest. Is he the big guy in the email? What happened with the deal? China will be one of Mr. Biden's toughest foreign policy challenges, and the unexplained documents won't go away once he's elected. If Republicans hold the Senate, you can bet there will be more digging. So, Senator, tell us about that. If Joe Biden wins the presidency, how would a Republican-led Senate, if it stays that way, how would it proceed?
Well, look, all of those questions need to be asked. I'm glad the Journal is asking them. The traveling press corps with Joe Biden, they're not asking them. Although, to be honest, it's very hard to ask it of someone who's hiding in their basement and doesn't take questions from the press. Look, we know, let's take the China piece of it. If the emails are true, and by the way, if the emails aren't true, which the Biden campaign has not alleged that the emails are fake, if they're fake, let someone put the evidence out. Obviously, we want to know if they're fake, but there's no allegation they're fake. If they're true, Fox News has reported from sources that the big guy referred to in the emails is Joe Biden himself. And this is an important point. This whole issue is not about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, by all appearances, has led a very troubled life and a challenging life. This whole inquiry is about Joe Biden, who wants to be president of the United States, and about whether Joe Biden was personally corrupt. The China emails are offering to pay over $1 million to the big guy, to Joe Biden himself, cash in his bank account. And the questions the Journal asks right there, did the deal go through? Did he take the money? How much money did Joe Biden take from Communist China? What did he do for it? Those questions, to the best of my knowledge, haven't even been asked, much less answered. You know, ABC had Joe Biden on for a town hall the day after these stories broke. They didn't ask a single question. Whether he had received millions from Communist China and what he'd done in exchange for that, apparently couldn't get in the way of their political effort to try to defeat Donald Trump and elect a Democrat president.
Meanwhile, to the suppression of this story and others, as you and other Republican senators are making the case, you now want to subpoena these technology executives. You have big questions for them. But, Senator, you know these companies are worth billions of dollars in market cap. I mean, you look at Google, $1 trillion. What kind of fight are you up for, knowing that they've got big guns behind anything that you and other senators bring?
Well, this is a fight I've been in for a long time. I think big tech poses the single largest threat to free speech and democracy in America. Their power keeps growing and growing and growing. I'm very glad to see the Department of Justice moving this week to bring an antitrust lawsuit against Google. Google is worth over $1 trillion. They've got $120 billion just sitting around in cash. And they use and abuse their monopoly position, number one, to enrich themselves at everyone else's expense, but number two, when it comes to politics, to silence American citizens and now to censor the media. If you look at what Twitter did, if you or I or anybody tried to tweet either of these New York Post stories laying out evidence of Joe Biden's corruption, your tweet would be blocked. You'd get a warning sign that says this is potentially harmful. They went even further than that, and they blocked the New York Post itself from posting their own stories. You know, Sandra, I've got a brand new book that came out 3 weeks ago that's called One Vote Away: How a Single Supreme Court Seat Can Change History. And there's an entire chapter in the book One Vote Away about free speech and about the efforts of the left, of today's Democrats, to go after free speech, to prohibit you speaking on politics. Did you know that every single Senate Democrat voted to amend the Constitution to restrict the free speech protections of American citizens? That's what their agenda is, and big tech is their willing henchman. And whether or not you agree with big tech's politics, who in their right mind would want a handful of Silicon Valley billionaires, American oligarchs, having total monopoly control over who's allowed to speak, what media is allowed to report, what stories you're allowed to write, and who's allowed to read it? It is dangerous, and it's a real threat to our freedom.
Senator, real quick, I've got to go. Amy Coney Barrett expected to arrive on Capitol Hill at any moment now. Big confirmation vote, all but certain. Democrats, do they have anything left to stop this? Final thoughts?
You know, they don't. The Judiciary Committee is going to confirm her tomorrow, and then the full Senate will confirm her on Monday. I will say, having been part of the hearings last week, you saw the first day or so the Democrats try to take some shots at her, and she was calm, cool, collected, and the American people, I think she impressed the American people, and by day two, you saw Democrats running for the hills. They didn't want to be anywhere near that hearing room because they recognized their attacks on her, and more fundamentally, their attacks on our constitutional liberties and the Bill of Rights, they weren't resonating with the voters. So Judge Barrett's going to be confirmed, and by Monday night, she'll be Justice Barrett.
Senator Ted Cruz, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, cheers.
And as the senator was